Good morning, good evening, good whatever time of the day it is for you. It's so awesome to see so many on this call. I am super excited about tonight, as I always am. This is our first webinar for May, and super excited to have this most amazing lady who agreed to come and have a chat to us. I've had the absolute privilege of being able to support Moira, to partner with her in some ways, to watch her show her shot to shine, I guess you could say, in front of so many that she gets in front of, including all of us as part of the team, and to just have the pleasure, like I said, to meet this lady and to have her with you as well. So I am going to bring the amazing Moira on so that we can do a formal introduction. So if I can get Moira to say hello to you all.
Hi everyone, how's it going?
Hey, so just a little bit about Moira. That was my hey, welcome. So Moira, what she prides herself in and what she does exceptionally well and better than I have seen anyone else do, and is a shining example of supporting women in particular is your market, right? So women in particular in how to actually create extraordinary results through speaking. And the interesting thing is that's such an offline thing, as our mind says. It's an offline thing to be a speaker. And yet at the moment, we are all sitting here online. And Moira is going to share with you some awesome tips and strategies and what she is doing, and something amazing that I know that you're launched just recently as well, with you all, of how you can do this and how this can add value to your business. So tell us a little bit more about that, Moira.
Sure. So, hi everyone, I'm Moira. I'm here in Donegal and I help entrepreneurs build a top tier income from virtual speaking. I also teach them how to enroll as many of their viewers and attendees into their programs and products as possible. So you make sure that your speaking gig is having the impact that you want it to have. So I'd love to know if there are any speakers, if you want to like pop in the chat saying, yes, I'm speaking, or no, not yet. Just so I know who I'm talking to. That would be really great. And yeah, just as Terry was saying, like up until like 3 months ago, I was speaking at live events. And now all of a sudden it's a virtual speaking world. And I'm so excited about this because, as Terry was saying, I grew my business from like being 10K in debt 3 years ago, maybe about 3.5 years ago now. And I discovered speaking. I was invited to speak at a local event. I live in a like a rural area of Donegal. There are not many events for entrepreneurs, I can assure you of that. So this was a huge opportunity for me. So I went and I did the speaking gig. I was so nervous that day. I have battled with public speaking, and I'll just tell you all that right now. I wasn't always able to get up on stage in front of hundreds of people. But this particular day I had to do this talk, and I was so nervous that my held the microphone in my hand, and I had to hold it to my chin because my hand was going like this. Like it was kind of out of control. But after I spoke, 2 people came up to speak to me. One man came up and spoke to me and says, I've never heard anybody speak about sales in that way. I think I need your help. He literally hired me on the spot. Another woman walked up to me who's actually a member of Genius U and invited me to speak to her annual event that was going to have 200 people. And I was kind of like, wow, that was just 15 minutes. Do you know what I mean? And I just put that together so fast. And it was in that moment that I discovered, I was just like, okay, so this is my fastest path here. And I basically spent the 3 years that followed that finding any room, any event that I could to get up on stage and share with entrepreneurs how they could use sales to grow their business. And then today I teach people how to use speaking to grow their business, because that's how I got to $500,000 business. So that kind of like gives you an idea of what my story was and how this happened. But what I want you to get from this is I wasn't a seasoned speaker. I had to learn speaking in front of like hundreds of people. The virtual world means you only have to learn with you in a room. So there's no more fear of public speaking, right? That's like, that's out of the equation now. But I grew my business to $500,000 in sales in 3 years from having one speaking gig in my calendar, because that was what I could manage. So I was like, 1 gig a month. If I get 2 or 3 clients from that, that's a great business for me. Hands up who would like to be able to do one thing and get 2 or 3 clients every time they do that, right? and get good at it at the same time, of course. And that's what I did. But now with virtual, you can literally do a speaking gig every day. Now think about that. You know, there's just no shortage. If you think there's 850,000 podcasts, that means at least half of those are looking for guests. That's 500,000 opportunities right there. When the world was breathing and everything was normal, there was 7,000 meetings in America every single day. So that gives you an idea of how many meetings for business goes on in the world. That's another potentially 100,000 opportunities. So the opportunities with speaking is absolutely exponential, in my opinion. And what I'm excited about, and what Terry was saying, is I've started a new type of virtual event. It's called Secret Suppers Worldwide, where I'm crafting my own audience and inviting people to my party every week. And the excitement that I have with that is that, you know, this idea that we can actually craft our own audiences. We don't actually have to even go out and look for audiences. We can like choose the people that we want to invite to our event. And it's so much easier to craft an event weekly online, because if I was doing an offline event every week, that would never work. I'd be like done. I'd be so tired. But online, it's so easy for me to put 10 to 15 people in a room every week and have like a really amazing conversation with them. So you can create your own opportunities as well. So I'm going to quickly look in the chat box here. I know when I start talking, Terry, you might like have to stop me a little bit. I tend to like fly on. So I just want to look at what your comments are, because yes, you're speaking. Okay, you're speaking. For me, it's how to get onto those podcasts, finding those opportunities. I'll speak to that. So are they paid events? Okay, so let me just like, you know, share with you, there's different models of speaking, which I think is important for everybody to understand. The model that I've used has been free speaking to make a free offer. That's just one model. And for me, that's $1 million model right there. The model that everybody thinks about is the keynote model. That's where you're paid to speak in front of thousands of people and everybody's like, oh, the keynote speaker. That's possible, but it's years and years of training. When you speak for free, then you can get those opportunities way easier, because they're more for people who are just starting out. But in the beginning, most people kind of think that, oh, how much am I going to get paid for speaking? Well, I never cared about getting paid for speaking. I cared about being able to reach the people in that room that really needed to hear my message. So you're never like I never really like thought about going to get paid for speaking, because at the time, I mean, I think the most I would get paid would be like $100, like $200. Like today I get paid like $2,500 to $5,000 to speak, but I've got 3 years experience behind me. So what I want you to get from this is the free to free model can help you become a seasoned speaker that will get paid one day. Because the best experience you can get is getting on stage. The best experience you can get is failing at speaking. The best experience that you can get is just speaking, you know? Does that make sense to everybody? Can I see a nod from Danielle, from Charlotte, from Ro, from Kathy, Leanne, Eric, Sharon, Mandy? Does that make sense? Is this helping you guys? Okay, so this is really great. So then, yes, in terms of messaging, so this is what I was saying when I was doing my talks. The reason that man came up to me and hired me at the end is because my message was for him. At the time, my message was all about for people who struggle with sales, and how to inspire your way to sales without being salesy, without being pushy, so that people feel inspired to buy your products or to work with you. And he was at that point where he was just like, I hate sales. It's a horrible conversation. I feel terrible. And when he heard me talking about that, he was just like, is it possible to inspire people to work with you? And I was like, absolutely. So he really connected with my message at the time. And this is the power of speaking. Your talk should never be for everybody in the room. Your talk should only be for the people that need what you have to offer. And if you're going to speak and try and speak to everybody, then you're in trouble. You want to only ever speak to the people that have the problems that you want to solve and the outcomes that you deliver, right? I think a big mistake is people try to speak to everyone. They try to teach everyone. And if you do it that way, you're kind of reaching nobody, you know? And today, like I help entrepreneurs build a top tier income from using speaking. If you don't want to use speaking to grow your business, then I won't be for you, right? But if you want to use speaking, you do want to build a top tier income from speaking, and you don't know how, then I might be. You know, but I'm always okay with knowing that like maybe 40 or 50% of the room are not for me. And then the 40 or 50% that are, like, we're going to have a lot of fun. Does that make sense? Okay, great. Okay, so Terry, jump in here if anybody has questions.
Yeah, no, I had to mute myself just then because it's pouring with rain here. So I thought,
All
I hope
right.
nobody heard that. Anyway, I mean, I just wanted to share a little bit about, because you can probably go on from this. I remember when I first started speaking, my journey came from my job as a speaker, and I didn't even know what being a speaker was. I wasn't into the entrepreneurial world or listening to speakers or anything. I worked for the government. And I ended up getting in a position where I ran tours for school children. And I worked for the local water and sewerage authority. And I ran a lot of sewage treatment plant tours. And it was then that I realized that I love to speak in front of people. And some people are natural speakers, right? And even like from that perspective, where speaking in front of children, which is one of the hardest things to do, and anyone would know if they've got a teaching background, because they ask a lot of questions that you can't always answer. Adults you can tend to manipulate a little bit, but children are different. So, it was easy for me to do that because it was something I love to do. But getting up on a stage, like you said, and speaking to an audience is very much about, oh my God, it's me. What if I say something wrong? How do you help people with regards to that? Because I mean, it's never about us, but why is it we make it so much about us as speakers?
Yeah, well, I mean, I really had to get over myself. I mean, I really did. It was like I had to take an elegant step to the left and just say, right, where I give it up. It's not all about you. It's about the people who are going to really relate to your story. So, let's talk about story for a second. This is, understanding the reason why you're speaking is really important. And way back when I started, the reason why I was speaking was because I knew the possibility with people's businesses. In Ireland, I just felt like entrepreneurs were asleep to the possibilities of what their business could do for them. And I was really like, I am going to wake these people up. This is not on. And I got really into it to the point where I ended up on a speaking tour of Ireland called Waking the Giants, right? And it was this based on this idea that I felt that entrepreneurs in Ireland were asleep to the possibilities that were with their businesses, that they could change not just their own world, but the world if they could wake up to the possibility of what sales could also do for their business. Because nobody wants to sell. Nobody wanted to learn to sell because they felt that it was this horrible surgery that they had to perform on their clients. And I got really into that. So every time I went to speak, people were really inspired by my story. Like, who is this girl from Donegal coming up to Dublin to tell us how to sell our products and things? But people really got behind why I was doing it. And when I started my business first, I used to live in London. I had a great job. I was a youth worker and I had a really glamorous lifestyle. And I was making something 30,000 a year. I mean, sterling pounds, it was quite good at the time. But I had a wall around about my 36th birthday. And I just thought, is this it? Is this life? Is this as good as it gets? And I literally, started to tap into my heart. I started thinking, what is it that I want to do in the world? What happened to the difference that I wanted to make when I was at college? And I made a decision to move back to Donegal in the middle of a recession, leave my job, and believe that there was something better for me and I was going to follow my heart. And I did that. I moved back to Donegal. The first thing I did was start a travel business because I was concerned at the lack of tourism in this beautiful corner of the world. And when I was doing that, people were like, why are you doing that? And I was just like, because this is the world's best kept secret. We've got so much to offer here. Can't you see that? And they're like, we don't have the weather. We don't have the roads. We don't have this. And I'm like, yes, but we've got the mountains. We've got the culture. We've got the people. We've got the beaches. And they were like, yeah. And people got really behind what I was doing. And that was I did that business for 2 years. And everything I learned about business, all of the secrets that I learned, led me to become a mentor, led me to become, an expert in sales, and led me into the speaking world. But people got really behind why I was doing that, because my story of leaving my job in the first place and then moving back home, I wanted to help my community. So people could really relate to that. So when I tell my story, a lot of the time somebody would come up to me and say, you know what, I'm in a job right now and I hate it. I want to do what you've done. You've really inspired me today. This is the power. This is how you move people. And I have people walk up to me and say, oh my God, I want to do that for my community. How are you able to do this? What's working for you? And I'm like, I'm picking up the phone and I'm just telling people how amazing this corner of Donegal is and they better come and see it. It was that simple. I think we can overthink our why. I think we can overthink, you know, why we're speaking in the first place. You always want to make sure that you're speaking, your intention is to deliver great value and have confidence that the people that are there, if they hear you and your message is clear, they're going to want what you have to offer. If they don't, it's like, look at the drawing board. What is it that you're offering? Was your message clear? It's not that you're no good. And like every time I spoke, I always paid attention to people afterwards. Like, what was it about my talk that made you want to speak to me? That was always my first question to people. So I could really connect with what I was saying that was really connecting with them. And I would say 8 times out of 10, it wasn't the great strategies or the great process or anything like that. It was my story. It was why I was doing what I was doing. It was like, if you can do it, if I can do it. I just felt so attracted to that. And you're like, and this is the power of connection, you know, and people want to feel connected to something. And they also want to feel part of something that's bigger. You know, so if you're standing on stage or if you're speaking virtually and you're just talking about your process, your method, what you do or do, it's boring. And that's the worst thing you can do and be as a speaker, is be boring. You know, I haven't really got into any like tactics or strategies, but hopefully you're picking up some ideas of how this can work for you. I'm going to share with you like specifics on how to get virtual speaking gigs, because I can see some cool questions coming through in this. But, you know, before I do that, you know, I was in New York about 2 years ago. I was speaking at the Global Women's Summit actually, and I had left my USB for my presentation at the hotel, and I was just like, oh God, I have to go get it. So I called an Uber. I got my phone out and I called Uber, and then the Uber pulled up and it was like a really average car, and I was just like, oh no, here's me all thinking I'm fancy in New York, and I'm going around in a beat out, you know, Honda going uptown. But anyway, I got in and I was like, take me where I want to go quick. But he's chatting away, this driver. He's just like, where are you from? What are you about? You know, what are you doing in New York? And he's chatting away, and I'm like looking at my clock and going, let's go, let's go, let's go. I'm on stage soon. So then we got to the destination and I go to get out of the car. And I'm like, thanks a million, bye. And he goes to me, oh, excuse me, ma'am. Can you give me a 5-star rating? I was like, what? For what? And he goes, were you not happy with your ride? And I was like, yeah, I was. And he goes, okay. So I get out of the car, I get my phone out, and I give the guy a 5-star rating. Why did I do that? Well, because he asked for it. So guys, what I want you to hear in that is you're all like, how do I get these gigs? How do you get these opportunities? It's as simple as just asking for them. And the beauty of this is, and this is the beauty of sales and in business, that if you can get really good at asking for the one thing that you need, and do it over and over again, you are going to get all the opportunities that you need. But the biggest problem is most of you are simply not asking. So when you're saying like, how do I get on a podcast? How do I get these virtual opportunities? You just start asking, and you just get really good at asking. And I mean, ask everybody. Do you know any virtual events that are taking place that are looking for speakers? Do you know any event hosts that I should connect to that are needing speakers? Like literally the golden question for me for my first 3 years in business is, are you looking for any outside speakers for your events? Are you looking for any outside speakers for your events? That was it. I got so good at asking that question, just like that Uber driver. That Uber driver had a beat out car and he had like a 10 out of 10 rating because he was asking for it all the time, and he mastered that ask. And us as business owners, we want to master the ask that's going to make the biggest impact for us. So whether for me, it was always asking for that speaking engagement and asking in a way that I was so confident in my ask that people sort of were like, okay, well, yeah, even though I may not have met all the criteria, you know, often we just need to really believe in ourselves. We just need to believe in what we're doing and what we have to offer. And if we really believe it, other people will believe it. You know, she seems to really think I should give her that speaking gig. Maybe I should. You know what I mean? It's like when you're closing a sale, it's like, well, she seems to think this is going to be a really great idea for me. Maybe I should do this. You know, because and that's it. That I would credit a lot of my success to my ability to just ask for what I want or ask for what my business needs. Does this make sense? Are you getting this? So when I say that there are hundreds and thousands of opportunities out there in the virtual world, I mean, if you just made a promise to yourself today, if you want to be speakers, and put in the chat box right now, say, yes, I want to be a speaker, or maybe maybe you want more gigs, whichever it is, just let me know that you just made a promise that you were going to ask at least 2 to 3 people every day for the next week and just see what happens. Not even for the next 30 days, 2 to 3 people a day. are you looking for any speakers for your event? Just do it for the crack. 7 times 3, that would be 21. That would be 21 asks, right? Imagine if your next like big windfall in your business was only like 3 to 4 people saying yes we do, and let's say that you got like 1 client from asking that question 21 times. Would that be a good use of your time? Let's say you got 2 clients from it. So have I got time to show some of the figures around speaking and what's possible for people?
Yeah, we've got just under 10 minutes left. So you've got.
Would you like to see me kind of outline some of the figures of what the revenue that you can create? Can I say yes? Or maybe you guys don't want to make more revenue in your business and I'm in the wrong room.
Maybe they don't.
Okay, let's just wrap it up here then. All right, cool. So let me show you some of these slides just to put this in perspective for you. I use these. Okay, so I just click share, right?
Yeah, share screen.
Okay, share screen. I cleaned my desktop just in case there might have been any embarrassing moments. All right, it happens. Okay, so this is just an example, right? So let's say you do 1 speaking gig and there are 20 people there, right? And 8 people say yes to your free offer. So do you remember I was saying in the beginning, my model for speaking is a free gig and a free offer. And a free offer can be like some sort of free session or free strategy session, or it can be a free resource where you're doing a list build. But what I always offered was a free session with me. I used to offer an Inspire Your Way to More sales session or a Build a Top Tier Income from Speaking session. So let's say there's 1 gig with 20 people, 8 people say yes to your offer. You have a package that's 1,500 and you have a 20% conversion on that, and two people say yes. That's 3,000. Does that make sense? Let's say there's 40 people in the room, 18 people say yes to your offer. You have a package still of 1,500. You get 4 new clients. That's 6,000 in revenue. Okay. Let's say you have a package that's 5,000 because you're starting to get really good at what you do, right? You're in business for a while. You do a gig, there's 20 people, 12 people say yes to your offer because your offer is really strong now. You've got more confidence, you're charging more for your services, your message is stronger, you've invested in the marketing. You do 4 sales, you make 20,000. That's 20,000 to your bottom line, 4 new clients. Let's say that gig had 40 people and your package is 10,000. That's a 6-figure business. Is this sitting with you guys? Can I get like a nod? Can you see what's possible here? Now, obviously, you need to get your messaging down and you need to have a signature presentation. But I think every single one of us as business owners should be able to talk about our business in a way that impacts people. So you like, would you guys agree? Like if you want to go on a podcast or, if you're invited on something, you want to be ready to talk about your business. And this is the key to virtual speaking right now is you have to be ready to rock. You can't be asking for virtual speaking gigs and not prepare yourself for them to say, are you available later on today? Because I have noticed from looking over the last 3 months, because I've really thrown myself into this, I'm just like, oh, wow, like you could make a phone call in the morning and you could be in front of 40 people that evening. Because things happen so much faster with virtual. So I think that I grew my business really fast from having 1 gig in my calendar every month. Like, what is it going to be if I decide to do my 1 event every week or 1 speaking gig every day? And you're getting clients every time you speak. And remember, I'm not saying that you're going to get hundreds of clients. I also want to keep this really believable. Like if you do 1 talk and get 1 client, you do the math on that. Would that be worth your while? Like the reality is if you aim for 1 and you get really good at getting 1, you're going to get 2, you're going to get 3, you're going to get 4 because you're going to become more confident. I have never seen or experienced any other strategy give you the confidence and give you the profile and the authority than what speaking can. If you're the person with the microphone, if you're the person standing at the top of the room, you're the expert. It's instant credibility. And then you have to deal with that, which can bring up a whole lot of other problems. But I've never seen anything be able to do that faster than speaking can. And the opportunity that's at your fingertips right now is absolutely exponential. It's blowing my mind at the moment. So I created this really cool guide that has 10 ways that you can find free virtual speaking gigs that you can literally start using straight away. It's called 10 Simple Keys to Finding Your First or Next Virtual Speaking Gig. I'd be more than happy to give everybody a copy of that. Would that be nice?
That would be perfect. Yes.
Yes.
And I'll speak on behalf of all of them because I know
that
definitely, yes, yeah.
It's really cool. It's everything that I've done, and I know it's going to help you as well. And then, you know, obviously, like when I'm talking about all this, you do have to get your messaging down as well, because it's like, you know, if your message is not clear, if people don't get it, then you're you know, it's going to be a problem. But I think that this is probably one of the biggest struggles for entrepreneurs, is to get their messaging down. And one of the first things that I work with my clients on is actually getting your message. But the biggest problem I see entrepreneurs make with the messaging is that they're trying to message everything they do, and it almost becomes like a laundry list, as opposed to having one clear outcome and one clear problem you solve and one clear outcome. And I think a great way to think about your you know, when it comes to like your why and your marketing and how all of this like really marries together really well is like, you know, most people think that, you know, when it comes to their why, that they have to have a powerful why and then they have to learn marketing. And then they might wonder why it's not working. But I think the reason is that that often they try to separate the two, when actually the two are really, really mixed together. So what I've discovered, you know, and from my story and everything that I've done in my business, is that a powerful why is the most powerful driver for your success. So remember I was telling you about before, when I was living in London, I was like, you know, I couldn't live in that city anymore, in that job anymore, because it was eating my soul. I knew I was meant for more. And I literally had a moment where I felt Donegal, my home, was calling me back home. And then when I got here, it was like this whole project of how I was going to invite more tourists to come to this area. And it ended up like I got like 1,000 travelers to come from all over the world to this tiny corner of Ireland. Like at one point, the Irish Independent were doing articles on me. There was a documentary done on the TV about it. I had like a corporate company come with helicopters to the local area, and people were like, what are you doing? Like, how is this working? And I'm like, I'm just getting on the phone and telling people how magical this place was. But people got really behind my why, because I really believed in that place. I really believed that we had something really special to offer. And I think that when it comes to your messaging, I think the reason that I was able to go from, you know, knowing nothing about business when I started and to where I am now is because I was driven by something that was like way more powerful than my fear of failure or my fear of public speaking or anything like that. So one of you asked me, how did I get over my fear of public speaking? I got over my fear of public speaking by speaking. I'm just like getting up on stage and talking about what I have to offer. I don't know if there's any other way to do this, because every time I did it, I was like, okay, nothing bad happened. In fact, people want to hire me, you know, so it became like, why am I so afraid? I know now why I'm so afraid is growing up, I was told to leave the classroom almost every single day because I talked too much. So it was drummed into me to stop talking and not to speak. So when I got up on stage, I'm kind of waiting for somebody to send me out of the room. Subconsciously, that's what was going on in my body. Now, obviously, I know all of this now because I've invested a shit ton of money in figuring all of this out. But I want you to know that I got better at speaking by just getting up on stage at speaking. And that's how I got over my fear of public speaking. And there's nothing that helps you develop confidence more than, you know, doing a talk and then 3 or 4 people hiring you and seeing that that's adding like 20, 30,000 to your bottom line in your business. That gives you real confidence in what you're doing, you know. And like, I'm not saying that money is everything, but in business, we have like, it's about making money. Of course, we want to make impact, but at the end of the day, we are supposed to make money with our businesses. And if you can find one way to do that and get good at it, oh my God, your confidence levels goes through the roof. But yeah, so you should think about, you know, when it comes to your marketing and your why, you should think that, you know, your why is what drives you, and it's like your marketing is the steer, right? So it's like, if you want to go somewhere, if you want to go on a cross-country road or a cross-country tour, you know, you better have a powerful engine. That's your why. Right? Now, if you want to get to a specific destination, you have to be able to steer it. And that's your marketing. So talk about your why in terms of your story, and people will get it. People will be driven by it. And then the direction you go, that's your marketing. My direction was getting on stages all over the world and having a great lifestyle from doing that as well. So so that's me. So I think a few people are asking if you can speak to me one-on-one. I'd be more than happy to offer something really special, not to everybody, as much as I would love to. But if you are struggling with your messaging, and if you know that there's just some tweaks that you could make, and you want to get out there as a speaker, you want to do more virtual events, I'd be happy to offer 3 people a chance to get on a call with me, and then I'll help you with an attention grabbing message that will get you clients and get you booked, and I'll do it in 30 minutes. I'm more than sure I can do that. It'd be completely complimentary. I'm going to post a link to my calendar into this chat box in a second, and I'll take the first 3 people who want to do that with me. And yeah, I normally charge for this, but I'm going to do this as a gift to Terry's wonderful people here in Australia, and just see what comes of it. And you never know, like, one of you guys might be out promoting your new message next week and getting booked on stages all over the internet.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Moira. So while I'm just finishing off, and thank you so much. That was amazing. It was the easiest interview I've ever done in my life. I didn't have to do anything. I'll let you put your Calendly link in there so that they can get that before we go. The gift in speaking, I mean, I think it doesn't matter who you are, and you know, those of you that know what your wealth profile is or have done some profiling, whether it's DISC or whatever it is, knows that, you know, there's some profiles that tend to get up, and even though they may still have a fear of giving enough value, they don't have a fear of being on stage, where others just don't want to be up there. I think what this is from a virtual perspective is that anyone can do this, because we're all doing it right now. Even though most of you are on mute, we are all doing it right now. And it's a gift that anyone can have. And just quickly, there was the iLab program in Bali that I've been facilitating for 6 years. There was one guy that came in the early, probably the first or second year I started, and he was a steel energy, a Lord profile, and everyone knew that this guy was coming, and he was so introvert, like the most introvert person I've ever known. And, you know, just to get words out of him was really super challenging. He got up there and he did not move. He had his iPad and he stood in front of this table. He did the best talk I've ever heard. He was absolutely phenomenal. So my point with that is, it doesn't matter who you are, how you think you are, the people will love you if, like Moira said, you've got your authentic message. And I mean your authentic message, or your authentic why, or your authentic story. If you've got that, people will want to listen. I will guarantee it. And for those that don't, who cares? It doesn't matter who doesn't want it. It matters who does. And I always say to everyone, being a business coach, I always say to everyone, you are robbing people, your potential customers, of opportunities if you don't get the message to them. And there's no better way than to do it in a group like this. So just do it. So thanks once again, Moira. Totally appreciate it. And what did I do? I just asked if you would, and you said yes. So there you go. We know it works. So we'll finish. It works all right. So we'll finish off for now. Just quickly to everyone, I will give a little bit of a burst. We are so close to launching our membership program. Super excited. Kathy, definitely going to connect with you because you'll love it, because it's something you can model off as well. So super excited about this and the value that it's got for you guys. So we'll be in touch about that. The other thing is, our next guest speaker is Mr. Roger James Hamilton. So what happened? I did exactly what Moira said, and even though I work with Roger, you know, he's so busy at the moment doing virtual talks. And I asked him, and he said, of course, Terry. So it shows it doesn't matter who it is. You just ask the question and they say yes. So we're very blessed to have Roger on the 21st of May. So.
Well, I'm gonna jump in for that as well.
Awesome. So thanks again, and thanks everyone. A little bit over as usual. Thanks to the amazing team behind this that makes sure that everything runs and we get it recorded and everything happens. I can't say thank you enough. So.
And just one thing, you're going to make sure that everybody gets the link to the free gift that I offered everybody, that guide I sent.
Yes, we've got that. We'll definitely make sure that's.
And I'm on Facebook, guys. If you want to be friends on Facebook,
yeah, don't do
friends with me.
All right. Thanks a lot. Thanks everyone for showing up. We'll see you really soon. We'll be in touch. Bye.